I'm renovating another base game house in The Sims 4, only using the base game, and today we are in Oasis Springs with the Raffia Quinta. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I wanted to really quickly show you what we are starting with before we get into the renovation. So this is the outside. It's definitely more of a mid-century home. Out back there is a spacious deck, and this is actually a 2-bedroom house, and I like the bones. The layout is pretty good and realistic. It's just the furniture choices and color schemes are questionable, and it's a little sparse. So when you first walk in, we have a small kitchen off to the side. Our dining room is over here with an off-center dining table. This is the living room, which is very strange. 2 red chairs on a rug with a TV just kind of like in the middle here. This is the primary bedroom over this way. Our first bathroom with the toilet paper halfway up the wall. The second bathroom with that same issue. And then we have another bedroom back here for a kid or a teen. So let's fix this up. So jumping into the renovation now, I am clearing out a lot of the landscaping. I also got rid of this larger fence towards the front of the property in front of the front door. I do add back a little bit of it later on, but I didn't like how it was blocking off the front of the home. I also decided to add a half wall on the top of the chimney. We didn't have half walls when The Sims 4 first came out, so that was something that was missing. A lot of the items that I end up using are things we didn't have initially when base game came out. So it was just really fun to come back and renovate this house. And I'm not sure if I've renovated this one before. I feel like this is a house I normally bulldoze because I like building on this lot. So it was really refreshing to do this, and I've just been having a lot of fun renovating these base game houses. I'm working on a couple more, which I am excited to share. And you might recognize this renovation if you follow me over on Twitch, because I did renovate this live over there first. So if you'd like to join for future renovations, future builds, and be part of the process before the speed build comes out, I do stream over on twitch.tv/Gryphi. All of that information is in the description. I'd love to have you. Messing with the floor plan a little bit because I really wanted to have a section in the front of the house protrude a little bit more because it was really flat. I felt like it lacked visual interest, so I really just wanted to add a little bit of a bump out there, which worked out nicely because it made the kitchen bigger, which I really enjoyed, and still kept the floor plan pretty similar to what it was before. I wanted to keep this one as similar as possible because I liked how it started. I didn't like the furnishings, but I thought the layout made a lot of sense. But right now I am playing around with some colors on the exterior and windows and playing around with some like weird ideas. I thought about having orange on the outside. I didn't end up doing that in the end. It ends up being white and brown, which I think worked really well. And then inside I use white, brown, and green as the main color scheme with a couple of other accent colors as well. But the inside definitely has 70s vibes, which I really enjoyed. I love this style of home, and I feel like it's just been a while since I've sat down and renovated one or built one. Maybe I'll have to build a mid-century modern sometime soon. But here I also extended a portion of the back of the house, once again, just to make it a little bit less flat, and that allowed for the inside to be a little bit bigger, which is always nice. And I didn't feel like I was missing that extra space in the backyard because I did end up extending that back porch to pretty much take up the rest of the lot. And by doing that, I was able to fit a pretty decent sized pool in the backyard as well. And I used the rounded pool tool, which is definitely something we did not have with base game, as we just got that most recently with the Love Struck expansion pack, the update that came before that one. So it was nice to add a pool here. I feel like rounded pools in mid-century modern homes go hand in hand, so I didn't want to miss my opportunity to add that. But that won't be till a little bit later. Right now I'm working on the landscaping out front. I decided to fence in some like pebble flooring out front and fill that with succulents. Here is that fence that I had mentioned. I put it back in a brown swatch just a little bit to kind of frame the front porch. And then I am starting to figure out what colors I want to have for the kitchen. I knew I wanted to keep these countertops because they're just not one I use that often and they fit really well for this style. I thought I was going to use the orange swatch that I have here, and I tried for a very long time, but it didn't end up keeping it in the end. It just didn't feel like it fit. I probably could have changed the entire color scheme to make it fit, but I really liked what I ended up doing in the end, which was more of a brown. So you'll see that come together, but you can see the kitchen has gotten substantially bigger from the addition I made to the front of the house, and I changed out the windows there. I also decided to open this up, so I am just moving where the fridge is, and that allows a little bit more of an open concept vibe to the inside of the house, but I still feel like it feels very mid-century. You'll see as we continue to play around with the floor plan a little bit. I do end up adding another chimney on the inside of the house because the one on the front of the house was never like a decorative chimney. It's always where the bathroom was. So that's probably where it should be on the inside, but there's a bathroom there and I didn't want to mess with the floor plan. So I ended up actually adding one over here that is sort of a divider between the dining room and the living room, which I thought was really fun. It's not a real fireplace either. I did end up just adding some windows into it to make it look like a modern unit that you might see in one of these homes. So if you would prefer an actual fireplace there, you could definitely add one. That's just not what I did. But here we are continuing to work on the kitchen, picking out some different appliances, and really enjoying the color that I chose of these counters. I know it's a pretty standard, like neutral, but I felt like it just worked really well, and I liked the tile that I chose as well. And there will be some more color added in here in a little bit. We're going to have like a avocado green wall in the dining room, which I'm very excited about, especially because it's a textured wall and it's not one I have really used much at all ever. I probably have used it before, but I couldn't tell you the last time, and it just felt very new and exciting to me because it's just a hard wallpaper to use. So you'll see that when we get to it. But I'm just cluttering up the counters now. I wanted to have some books that could be cookbooks, some knives, all of your basic kitchen stuff. I also for a while had a couple of jars of pasta. Those are from Debug, and I didn't end up keeping them in the end. I just thought they looked a little bit out of place, but I do like to use those from time to time. Also, I love adding this little journal on tables or counters like this. It's also a base game item that in the most recent swatch update got a bunch of new swatches. I'm still a little bit unsure of the items. I know there's lists of them, but I keep forgetting because I wasn't home when that update came out. I was actually on a plane to San Diego for TwitchCon, so I didn't get to check out that update when it first happened, and I keep forgetting which items are involved in that. And I'll grab an item and I'll be like, oh yeah, this has more swatches, and it's really exciting. I love when they update swatches. I hope that's something they continue to do in the future. But as you can see, I have figured out the placement of the dining room now. I have made the living room a little bit smaller, but I think it worked out okay in the end. We were able to fit a 6-seater table here, and I love the color scheme in this space. You can kind of see a little bit of like this greeny brown on the chairs, but I'm going to be bringing in a much more intense green, and it's going to take a couple of tries. I do try a few different wallpapers before we get to the one that I keep, so just keep that in mind. But I did layer a couple of mirrors here to have something a little bit more interesting over there. We only have so many mirrors in base game, so I did end up actually duplicating a lot of them in this build to make this something that looks a little bit more interesting. I also added the Gryphophone, which came with the new Reaper Rewards event that's going on right now, and that is not the green wall we are going to be choosing. We're about to change it to this one. I think it's so fun. I love the texture on it. It's not a wallpaper I ever use, but I think it worked really nicely. And you can see the fake fireplace that I added here, and then we are just getting a rug in the living room and going to actually be using one of these couches that is also one that got a lot of new swatches with the swatch update. It already had a green swatch, but it was a darker green, so I decided to use the lighter green here, and I thought it worked quite nicely with the other colors I had in this home. And then I just added a TV up above the fireplace. I feel like a frame TV would have worked really nice in here, but the only frame TV we have in The Sims 4 came with the Modern Lux kit. So of course I couldn't use that, but I thought just having a mounted TV made the most sense. And also you might notice that the footage kind of skipped a little bit, like a couple things moved around in this room. Not too much was missed, but I accidentally stopped recording for a moment on stream. So that is why the furniture just like kind of rearranged into different spots in the room, but I think you can get the gist of what I did. Anyway, working on the entryway now, I did this same idea of having multiple mirrors next to each other and a side table. I actually forgot to decorate that until I was taking the screenshots and I realized, so I just added a small plant on there. And then we are just playing around with some more wallpapers and windows. I just went around and kind of cleared out the rooms I hadn't cleared out yet, which were the bedrooms and the bathrooms, and tried to pick out some wallpapers before we went in and actually decorated them. And I am starting on the primary bedroom here, which ends up being very brown, but I think the color scheme worked nicely. I love this bed. I feel like it's a bed I don't usually like because it's a very strange shape, but for some reason in this house, I felt like it worked so nicely and I was really excited about it. I also just like the the like patterns that are on the comforter for this bed. I wish they were on some of the more like simple shaped beds. And that is something I would love to get more of in base game, is more swatches for all of the beds. Whether that's like different patterns on the blankets or just different color variations of the patterns we already have. I feel like that would be so nice. But here I am changing the bedside tables to be these other ones. I felt like they fit the style a little bit better. And I changed the color of them a couple of different times. They turned green and then I turned them to brown again because I really liked the green lamps. So you'll see that whole process happen. And I do end up changing the dresser a little bit later as well, but I don't think I have that on camera. It ends up being brown to match the bedside tables. And then I'm just lowering down a mirror over here and decorating ever so slightly. I have a clock and a pile of clothes. And then over in this corner, I had room for a bookcase, so I included that in this space. And there is me changing the color of the bedside tables. And then I really wanted something else above the bed, but nothing was working. And I realized just extending the windows would look really nice. That's a pretty common thing in this style of home, of having really narrow windows at the top of rooms. So I thought that would be a nice thing to include in here. And I think the other bedroom, the one I'm about to work on, had that to begin with, and I got rid of it, and I'm putting it back now. So I am just figuring out the layout in here. I end up going with a blue, orange, white, and black color scheme. I was imagining the Sim is really into music and a lot of other things. I feel like as kids and teens, you are just discovering your interests. So I just end up putting up a bunch of posters in here and cluttering it as much as I can with the base game. I think it ends up being pretty cute in the end. It's not exactly the style of the rest of the house, but I feel like that's realistic because the teen does not own this house. Just added some pillows to the bed to make it sort of look like a day bed. It's really nice that these pillows were officially added to base game recently. They were part of the first login event that we had a couple of months ago now. And they patched them into base game as like a, sorry, these probably shouldn't have been stored locally on everyone's PC. And now going forward, like the rewards for the Reaper's rewards that's going on right now, those are going to be stored with your account instead of on your PC. So you now have these pillows if you did not have them before. And I think they're one of my favorite base game items. I use them a lot, and I feel like it really helps with these homes that I'm not using other packs in to really change up the furniture and make it feel a little bit more custom, since you can just add cushions to everything. And I hope we continue to get more things like that in future packs. I know I'm very excited. I'm recording this before the next pack trailer comes out. So I'm really excited to find out more about the Life and Death expansion pack. I don't know how much will be known by the time this video goes out, other than the trailer will have been released. But I can't wait to get my hands on some new items and check those out. That should be really fun. And if there's anything you'd like to see me build with the new pack, definitely let me know. I'd like to take your suggestions, and once I get my hands on it later in the month, I would love to do some builds. I am always really excited for new content in the game, but I've always really liked occult stuff and more gothic items in both real life and in The Sims. So I'm very excited. Like Halloween, October is my favorite time of year. So this is going to be right up my alley. Anyway, we are in the backyard now, and I am adding the pool that I had mentioned earlier. I just extended the backyard a little bit to fit this in, and I was able to add a couple of lounge chairs. I kept the table and chairs. I just changed the color swatch on those, and there's a grill back here, and I will be grabbing a trash can as well, the outdoor trash can that you need for the house. And I believe I kept the same mailbox out front. But this is going to be the main bathroom. It has a shower tub combo, a sink, and a toilet, and I added a like bump out in the corner to make everything fit a little bit more snug in here. I think this is a nice layout for a bathroom, and it just has all the same color schemes as the rest of the house. Lots of browns, greens, beiges, and just getting a little bit of clutter up on the sink as well. I also really wish we had more of these sort of items in base game, just like basic things to put around and more plants. I have been working on a bunch of different base game houses recently, like renovations, and I'm feeling very limited, specifically in paintings and plants and beds and rugs, which I guess is a lot of things. But I feel like rugs and paintings, you just use them everywhere, so you really need more options. because like you could dress up a couch in a bunch of different ways. A lot of people have couches that all look the same, but I feel like having different paintings makes sense. So I don't know. Hopefully someday we'll get some more base game paintings. And I'm also excited to see if we have any more with the next pack. But anyway, I'm just finishing up the landscaping in the back of this house, and then we are going to be heading on into screenshots. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And a massive thank you to my YouTube members for all of their support. And if you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button down below or check out the link in the description. Enjoy the screenshots, and I'll see you all soon. Bye, everyone.